This is News 8 Now.
Well, are you a sleepy driver? Nearly 60% of car accidents involve a driver who was sleep deprived. Coming up next, Dr. Craig Schwimmer from the Snoring Center is here with advice on getting a better night's sleep. This next segment is especially for those who drive late at night or early in the morning. Did you know that sleepy drivers show the same signs of impairment as drunk drivers? The statistics are startling. The Snoring Center of Dallas is committed to helping create better sleep for better health. This morning, Dr. Craig Schwimmer, who is the medical director of the Snoring Center, is here to talk about the dangers involved. Good morning, Craig. How are you?
Good morning. I'm great. How are you?
Good, thank you. So let's get right to it. Now, driving sleepy is just as dangerous as driving under the influence. How can that be?
Well, it's absolutely true, and it's interesting. We've done a great job in recent years of educating people as to the dangers of driving while under the influence of alcohol. But many people don't know that driving while drowsy is just as dangerous, and in some cases more dangerous. And what it comes down to is impairment is impairment. I'll give you a story. My brother, who lives in Connecticut, took a flight, a red-eye from New York to LA 2 years ago. Got off the plane, picked up his rent-a-car, started driving to the hotel. Well, he got pulled over for suspicion of drunk driving. He hadn't been drinking, but he hadn't been sleeping. And to the ticketing officer, the effect was the same.
Wow. So did he indeed get a ticket for that offense? Isn't that something?
Yeah.
And you know, you would think that we would be aware of when we're drowsy. Would you say sometimes we're not even aware of the signs?
Oh, absolutely. I think most of us do not recognize the signs of being dangerously drowsy when we're driving.
I find, you know, nowadays people are just very overextended, and they have multiple jobs, multiple responsibilities. I'm talking about myself here because I am not very good with normal sleep patterns. And so we overextend ourselves and we think, oh, we can get by. We've been doing it for so long. We don't need that much sleep. But one of these days it could catch up.
Absolutely. And with frightening regularity, it does. The National Sleep Foundation estimates that over 100,000 accidents per year are attributable to drowsy drivers. And we live in a society that is chronically sleep deprived. We're so busy and we have so much going on in our lives, and we tend to shortchange ourselves when it comes to sleep, and that's just not healthy, and indeed it's unsafe.
So this is something that we're seeing more a trend nowadays than we did maybe even 20 years ago.
Absolutely, because our lives have become that much busier.
All right, well, I know that you've talked a little bit about this quiz that we can take.
Yes.
That really pinpoints what our sleep IQ is, right? How much sleep we need. What is some of the questions that we need to answer to see if we know about our sleep IQ?
Well, question number one, true or false, coffee overcomes the effects of drowsiness while driving?
I would say true, but or Red Bull. Red Bull or coffee, or the combination. Are you saying, you're going to say false, right?
Well, that's false, and your perception is exactly is the perception that many people hold, and that's part of the problem, because caffeinated drinks, coffee and these sort of hyper-caffeinated soft drinks that so many of us reach for because we're tired, mask the symptoms of sleepiness, but they do not improve our performance. And in fact, if you're really sleepy and you drink a bunch of caffeine, you're prone to taking what are called micro-sleeps, or little naps that can last 4 or 5 seconds. And if you're driving down the road at 65 miles an hour, that's enough time to cause some serious problems.
That's not a good time to take a 4 or 5 second nap.
No, it's not.
Oh my goodness, I've never even heard of that before. All right, so no Red Bull. It gives you that false sense of security.
Exactly. It makes you feel better than you are.
Okay, good to know. All right, question number 2.
I can tell when I'm going to fall asleep. Do you think that's true?
I'm going to say true again, Dr. Schwimmer, but I think you're going to say that's false.
Well, and most people think that it's true, but it's false. And in fact, sleep is not voluntary. We can't control when we fall asleep. And in fact, if you are drowsy, you cannot control when you fall asleep, nor can you control how long you stay asleep.
Okay. All right, good to know. Like you're in your brother's case, because he didn't know the signs. He didn't know he was going to fall asleep.
Exactly, and that's the problem, is that because your perception is altered when you're sleepy, you're not aware, and it's completely analogous to driving under the influence of alcohol. You think you're fine, but you're not.
Okay, good to know. All right, next question.
I'm a safe driver, so it doesn't matter if I'm sleepy. True or false?
Well, I've been on a roll with the truths here, so I'm going to say false.
Well, good for you.
Okay.
That is false. And it's the same argument. Well, I'm a great driver, so I can have a couple of beers and go for a spin.
Yep.
And that is not true. And the same holds true for driving while drowsy.
Okay.
The only safe driver is an alert driver.
Okay. Good to know. Number 4.
I can't take naps.
I can't take naps. That's true. I'm not a good napper.
You know what? You are. You just don't give yourself a chance.
So that's false.
That is false.
I'm failing miserably
And,
here.
well, that's okay. Most people do.
Okay, so you're saying it's mind over matter?
Well, it's a question of opportunity, and it's funny because in the Snoring Center, I hear this all the time. I can't take a nap. Well, typically the person who tells me this is the guy who's fallen asleep in my waiting room. And if you are drowsy and you put yourself in an appropriate environment, and it doesn't need to be a king-size bed at the Four Seasons.
Okay.
It just needs to be.
Helps.
Although that helps. That's always good. But a reasonably quiet, secure, calm environment, you will nap.
Okay.
And that's your body telling you that you need sleep.
All right, I'm going to try that this week. I'm
Okay,
going to let you know
please.
how I do.
You'll feel good.
All right, and final question.
Being sleepy makes you misperceive things.
Yes, true.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And I think most of us have had the experience of driving at night and you're driving down the road and you think you see an animal. And a minute later it turns out to be a traffic sign or a piece of trash on the road. And a sleepy brain doesn't process information as quickly or as accurately as an alert brain. And one of the things that suffers when we're tired is depth perception, and that's particularly dangerous when you're driving because we tend to think that there's more distance between us and an object down the road, so you give yourself less time to brake.
All right, well, Dr. Craig Schwimmer, great information. I'm going to brush up on my sleep IQ.
Excellent.
I'm going to try to take that nap.
Please take a nap.
Okay, thank you so much. And if you want to take the entire Sleepy Driver quiz, log on to our website at wfaa.com/GMT, or for more information about the Snoring Center, log on to snoringcenter.com or call 214-369-2345 or 972-298-2345 and get a good night's sleep.